2024, God prompted me, do it yourself. So just a little country boy in a back office area for a construction company was now an attorney on his own and went into the Western District Court with a lawsuit challenging a Marbury v. Madison case. In 1803, Marbury v. Madison declared from the Supreme Court, anything repugnant to the Constitution is void from onset. So everything that violates Article 1, Section 4, Clause 1 was void since 1910. Through the whole case, God carried me with the revelation and the wisdom and the understanding and taught me along the way how to get to the next level. We started out in the Western District Court of Oklahoma and the federal court, ended up in Colorado, and eventually the Supreme Court of the United States in D.C. Got through their auto reject cycle, but they declined to hear it. And this goes back to what Sheila was saying. It is important for the grand juries. In the meantime, I was prompted to combat State Question 836. Are we familiar with 836?
General primaries.
The California primary. Unconstitutional in its nature. So we are currently in the 10th Circuit Appeals Court combating that any form of open primary is unconstitutional throughout the entire United States. With victory of that, it will overturn California's elections. It will overturn every top 2 vote getter. Because everybody has a First Amendment right of association. And every candidate has a right to be on their Article 1, Section 2, Article 1, Section 2, and Section 3 rights is the only minimum citizenship and age to be on that November ballot. So in this whole process, God's been having me combat election crime. And that's what we're going to call it, election crime. The establishment is figuring out how to further strip we the people into their peasants. We're not going to stand for that.
No.
The only thing necessary for evil to prevail is good men to do nothing.
That's right.
And I'm not so small I can't make a loud voice. No matter how messy it looks, no matter how ignorant to these overeducated Ivy League attorneys are, I still have the Constitution, which was endowed by our framers, given with our inalienable rights by our Creator. Whether you believe in God, the universe, or whatever you believe in, there is a higher power that gives you certain inalienable rights. At the end of the day, no one else can impede on. There's a reason there is a flag that says don't tread on. We've gotten too quiet, too lazy, and we did not remember the importance of every election. Samuel Adams wrote to John Pitts, January 21 of 1776, in very prophetic warning, "How strangely will the tools of a tyrant pervert plain human words." So it's no wonder why every politician seems to be a bar-certified attorney to figure out how to manipulate the words that you vote for something, assuming it's one way, and they give you something else. I propose to you today the State Questions 844 and State Questions 846, that they are both a great infringement and a threat to our way of life as Oklahoma, but our constitutional right to be able to hold future legislatures accountable. State Question 844, if many of you do not know about what it is yet, it's the 5-year exemption for the ad valorem. And what they are doing now, it's already legislated in the Constitution as an incentive from outside or even new manufacturing like the Inola plant. They will get a 5-year exemption as an incentive to come to Oklahoma and bring the economy here. What the legislatures are trying to do now is they are saying, we want to add a constitutional amendment, but let the legislature redefine the means and method, but we're not going to tell you what those means and method are on the constitutional amendment that locks it in. So we will, at a wind's notice, decide that the means and method, what is written in their code is for the political indebtedness, they will go with a fair value, not the market value. But you know your taxes are based on the market value. And so is the cost added to your communities, that added roads, the utilities, the services, the schools. So who says that a political faction, one way or the other, would not say, well, in this blue area or this red area, it's not fair above 10% of what they should be getting. Right now, they're getting the full tax rebate for 60 months to help the growth and the added resources that's needed. What they are trying to do on a underrepresented election, that's not by coincidence. They can change our Constitution in a vote that no one really goes to, right? It wouldn't take very many people. But that's where we speak up. We get everybody, every independent, every liberal. I'm telling you, everybody. You know how many independent people don't realize they can vote August 25th? Because they're not a Republican or Democrat. But they can still vote on state questions. How many people could have shifted how our Constitution as a state because they did this mechanism of fraud? I consider it fraud because if you know that people are not going to show up, then you're basically rewriting the Constitution while people's asleep, and you know it. That's the ultimate betrayal. So with State Question 844, it's a way to defund education without saying defund education. Picture this. You're in a small county, Oklahoma County or Canadian County, and the smelter would come there. But they can't afford the indebtedness of the new innovation because some legislature said, oh, instead of $10,000 a month that you need in tax reimbursements, you're only getting $1,000. But you still have to take from your schools and the others to make sure that you have the resources for those communities. The math don't math. Neither does surrendering our future generation to a blank check to the legislature.
Right.
And that's what 844 does. It says, we're going to change this and we will define the means and method with no expiration date. So please pray about it. I encourage you to look for more information on your own. I will have information up on my website under the exposure files link. We're about to launch the Holly Hour, which will be a town hall style podcast system. And we're hoping to launch before the runoff so we can get some of this information out to people. But it's Holly, Holley, hour, HOUR.com. And it's at the menu, and you can just go to the exposure files and you can look at everything I'm looking at. It has a lot of the State Question 846 on it as well. Now, a little bit about the State Question 846. That's probably what everybody is mainly here about, correct? About how we're going to change fundamentally our proof of identity. What does proof of identity mean? Remember the quote, how strangely the tools of a tyrant pervert the plain meaning of words.
Mm-hmm.
Proof of identity, I have proof of 17 states that have changed their election laws since 2025 when President Trump took office back. Everybody knew he was going to do Save America and get election integrity. 17 states that I found have revised their election laws. I was speaking to a couple friends the other day. How many of you have bought or sold a car?
All of us.
Yeah.
I'm sorry? Ever.
Oh, yeah.
So when you buy and sell a car, it's a legal instrument, right? And it has to be the way that you are titled, registered with the state. So if my wife, Crystal, and I were to sell Sheila our car, and the title read with the state, Adam and or Crystal, either one of us can sign it over without the other knowing, or with the other knowing. If the title said Adam and Crystal, then she can't get mad at me and sell my sports car to me without me knowing about it. Now, what if it said Adam or Crystal? I may not see that sports car today.
You might not.
Because the or is a legal statement. Would you believe that these other states that revised to prepare for the SAVE Act, they did all the right writings, photo ID, semicolon, voter card, semicolon, or utility bill, or bank account. And right now, Alaska has where, if the poll getter, the verifier, knows the person, they don't have to verify. There's one really popular poll person that would gladly say 35,000 votes. Yeah, I know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you wouldn't have to prove it. It's in the state statutes about Alaska. Colorado has a similar bill that, or utility bill. It's very important about the way a bill is written. You got these overeducated attorneys that create these little caveats that give a back door so you can get around the true agenda. Now, here's my question for you guys. The people voted in 2010. I believe it was state question 746 for the photo ID at the voting booth. And we have that today in Oklahoma. That is Title 26, Section 7-114. You know what state question 846 does not do? It does not say we're codifying Title 26, Section 7-114. They're saying we're going to create a constitutional amendment and call it proof of identity because the sheep don't know better, and say the legislature will determine what the proof of identity means. Would you tolerate a proof of identity to be declared as a utility bill?
No.
What if the legislature would say, well, if you're a resident, you're now a citizen?
No.
Well, that's proof of identity. That's the free reign. One of the questions I do also have, and I started saying this the last week and a half, with your personal money, would you write and sign a blank check and give it over to a Commerce?
No.
So why sign a constitutional amendment over and let the legislature do your will?
Yeah. No.
No.
Not.
And the scary fact, we have a lot of alleged Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of personally, not one way or the other, but I kind of like what Shane Jets calls them.
Trans-
Republicans.
Yeah.
But what we are seeing is if you want to say that aspect, trans conservatives.
Yeah.
We have to go and look at each one of these candidates by the GOP platform. And the ones that are the closest to it, to go with them.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that, I do have if we don't mind going back to Jim for a question. You thought you were done. Okay. At this point, it's kind of like the quote as far as how the tools of a tyrant pervert the plain meaning words, and how the optics look the way they do to us. Many of us don't realize there's years of work leading up to that. So with be stepping into. I would almost guarantee there was at least 2 or 3 years of already legislated acts that put the smelter in Inola and did not give a chance to be somewhere else. Do you have any other insight as far as if they violate that order, what is our recourse to guarantee the safety of Oklahoma's future as well as retaining the technology?
You want me to answer?
Yes, please. Hey, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Well,
Number one, as you may know, when this thing was initially passed, it was pretty much universally agreed to, primarily because the people of Inola have a water system that ain't working. And so they made an agreement with the company that they would be able to use the plant's water system without any cost to the local population. And everybody thought that was a good idea. But my point is, things, when they were initially passed, virtually everybody, except a few senators who had their ear to the ground with the folks in Inola, they thought it was really a great idea. You asked, is there a vehicle where you can stop it? The vehicle is the Clean Air Act. One of the reasons that we insisted that we are going to have supplemental monitoring systems is because we are going to go to probably the Cherokees and get a contract, a no-bid contract. I won't go into the nuts and bolts unless you want me to afterward. That allows us to monitor the system supplementally to the monitoring that is being done by the plant itself. And just like was done in Iceland,